This is Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Deep to left center field, back it goes and gone. The 0-2 pitch, he struck him out swinging at 101. The swing and a drive, left field and deep, back it goes and gone. And the Twins walk it off again.
All right, it's that time on a Friday with our guy Cory Provus. Joins us each and every Friday to chat on the Minnesota Twins, who have taken us through the emotional roller coaster yesterday. I don't know if the season was on the line, but certainly the game played out, one of their more thrilling games of the season, with an unbelievable pitching duel between Taj Bradley and Gavin Williams. The Twins won it, so at least for now, we're in that spot. We talked last week. They couldn't go 1-6 or 0-7. They went 3-4, so they're right what we thought they were, right?
I mean, I think it was a huge game, and I read what Taylor Rogers said after the game, that 2 days ago everybody felt like the world was ending and the season was over and all that stuff, and how things can change. And I get where he's coming from, but just coming home, 51-53 as opposed to 50-54. To me, it just seems like a bigger deal.
Yeah.
I just think going 3-4, winning these last two, and now with 6 games coming up against two teams that are really struggling right now, a chance not just to get back to 500, Dom, but to get over 500. Yeah. I mean, this is their best chance in a long, long time. So I thought it was a massive, massive win. And not to mention, people make fun of me because I bring it up a lot, that tiebreakers come into play here.
Yeah.
As you all know, your Mets stayed home last year because they lost the tiebreaker to the Reds. Yep. Same record, lost the head-to-head season series. The Twins are now 6-4 against Cleveland, with 3 games left to be played at Target Field in September. The Twins won a season series in Cleveland for the first time since 2021. They have the tiebreaker already over Houston. They have the tiebreaker already over Boston. They don't have it over Seattle. They can change that with a series coming up next weekend. Yeah. But I think it's a massive deal. I think that was a huge game, not just for 500, getting back there, hopefully getting closer to it, but in terms of the tiebreaker, now they just got to win one of the final 3 against Cleveland to win the season series.
Let's go back to yesterday. The way Gavin Williams was throwing, you feel like they were ever going to get anything on until he left the game in the 8th inning.
I mean, I thought it was the best performance I've seen a starter have against the Twins all year.
Yeah.
All year. It wasn't a no-hitter. It wasn't a perfect game. It was disgusting. It was filthy what he was doing. And you saw the swings. I mean, did you see the amount of Twins that were swinging and missing by not just inches, by it looked like feet.
Yeah.
I mean, feet. I mean, he was awesome. That was stud stuff. And I was telling Denard about halfway through the game in commercial, when Paul Molitor was managing, one of his biggest pet peeves, he hated tipping his cap to the opposing guy, but realized maybe once or twice a year you really have to do it. That was yesterday to me. Gavin Williams, bravo, was fantastic. Taj was great. But yeah, both guys took no decisions despite going 7 innings and pitching very, very well.
Twins bullpen yesterday, Cory, how would you grade out what they did after he left?
I mean, I thought the game was over multiple times. Especially in the 11th inning, when they worked around who was up. Stephen Kwan's at second base. You've got Ramirez. You've got Rocchio. You've got all their better hitters. DeLauder, Bazana, all their best guys. Yeah. And all they need to do is push that guy in. And both teams struggled getting that lead runner to third base with that first batter. And that was the difference in the game, because nobody could do it. Interesting, and you can always go back and second guess, but for the Cleveland side of things, Patrick Bailey trying to bunt his teammate over. Austin Hedges was on the bench. He's a good bunter. I get it, Bailey, better defense, all that stuff, but there's your window to win the game. So I think you can kind of second guess that a little bit. Did Stephen vote? Should he have lifted Bailey, knowing that that's the winning run? You're going to bunt anyway. Why not have one of your better bunting guys come in? Yep. And if the game does play on, there's your catcher and fine. I think that you can second guess. But you can second guess a lot of moves. It's easier to do that a day later. But, yeah, the bullpen, bravo. And now Jack Anderson becomes the 12th Twin with a save adding to this ridiculous team record that they have now 104 games in.
We're going to look at the wild card standings here. Boston somehow has let themselves into this because when you win 15 in a row, that's sort of the deal. But the Mariners are right in front of Minnesota. What do we make of this race? I mean, the Yankees have to get healthy. You'd think the Judge is going to come back, but nobody thought Boston was going to be relevant, Corey, 2 months ago.
They looked like a disaster.
Yeah.
They looked like a dumpster fire when the Twins last saw them, and they went 5-1 against the Red Sox this year. Remember, they swept the series at Fenway Park, and they're booing. And you start thinking about, man, I wonder if Aroldis Chapman will be available because Derek Shelton loves him. They were together in Pittsburgh, and I think this would be an awesome fit to this team. Well, that's not happening anymore. I mean, he's not going anywhere.
No.
But, yeah, when the Twins rattled off those 13 straight wins in back-to-back years, they didn't really gain much ground because what it was, looking back in hindsight, was both in 24 and 25, they put themselves in a hole early and used that 13-game winning streak to get back into not just 500, but get above it. Whereas the Red Sox, they just changed everything. They were buried and got themselves over 500. That coincides with, even the Rays losing a little bit more, but they're still very good at home. Yeah, but gaining, significant ground on the Yankees in the AL East standings. And now, the mediocrity of the American League is still there, but it doesn't look as mediocre, even beneath that, as it once did, with the way that the Red Sox have been playing here the last couple of weeks.
I got to go back to what happened this weekend in Chicago, last weekend, the back-to-back days where we had the Josh Bell base running, and I know Keyshawn's not a center fielder, but he had two plays and back-to-back that compounded themselves. It was a comedy of errors out there that led to two bad losses at Wrigley Field.
The late, great John Sterling, the legendary voice of the Yankees, he had one of my favorite lines a couple of years ago. And, if I said this on the air, I'd get fired. So that's why I didn't do it. It was in my head, but I wasn't going to do it. But when the Yankees were having all these base running gaffes a couple of years ago, John Sterling said on the air, quote, he's like, boy, the Yankees, they're running around like a bunch of drunks. And that was in my head. Yeah. But, yeah, that base running, that was a disaster on every level, head down, who's at fault, multiple guys. But, yeah, they literally ran themselves out of a potential, game-changing, game-tying inning, and that was poor. And then, Keyshaw's he's not going to make every play.
Yeah.
This is new to him playing center field. He started, 10 games, I think, now in center. And everybody will tell you that the hardest ball to read is that line drive right at you. And, do I die for it? Do I not? It's sinking. And you got by him. That stuff is going to happen. And that's why, the Twins are a better team in every possible way when Byron Buxton is playing. Right. Not just because of his bat, his leadership, his speed, but because he's platinum out there in center. And, yeah, there's a domino effect to that. When he doesn't play, moments like that, they're going to show up even more.
All right, so I mentioned this before you came on. You mentioned the two teams that are coming. It's the Athletics and the Royals. I said 5-1 is minimum. What do you think? But they're both bad teams. I mean, what do you think of what's coming to Target Field now this week?
I think you win these series. I think that sounds great. 4-2. I think win these series. That to me, and they don't have right now. They have a losing record against Kansas City.
Yeah.
They will not see Bobby Witt Jr. He won't play. He'll be he's on the IL with a back injury. And the Royals, they're beaten up too. They got a lot of injuries. I think Jack Caglione, though, is going to be back. He's not on the IL dealing with a sore shoulder. He's a really good player. Will they still have Michael Wacha? The trade deadline is a week from Monday.
Yep.
And will Wacha still be on this team? There seems to be a lot of momentum building that he's going to go. Maybe Seth Lugo's going to go. And maybe that pushes into the weekend, and that's not a factor. And then we'll see either one of those two guys in this upcoming series. But this A's team, starting with them, this was a team, I saw this note this morning, Dom, entering June 20th, they were 500. They were 38-38. But since then, they have lost 21 of 26. They have a season-high 11 guys on the injury list right now, and it's impacting everything. When we talked about the injuries with the Cubs series, the bulk of those injuries were with their bullpen, not with the offensive core that we saw. Yeah. the A's, all these injuries, it's everybody. It's position players, it's bullpen, it's starting pitching. So I was completely on the A's bandwagon at the start of the year. I thought this team, if they're healthy, I get it. This lineup is going to be awesome. They're just missing so many guys. I'm reading that Nick Kurtz might come back in this series, so they'll get the big Amish back, maybe as early as tonight. But they're missing so many guys right now, and mainly with their starting staff currently. And with that, their ERA the last 15 games is 6.5. So add to them right now. I mean, they got Jacob Lopez going tonight, 15 games, 12 starts. ERA is 6.64. He's been hit hard. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is going to be a pretty dominant right-handed lineup tonight, and let's pounce while we can.
Saturday, the Twins don't have a starter. Is that Connor Prelip in your estimation? Is he back for that tomorrow night?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, barring any, it was interesting that he met the team in Cleveland, and what the training staff wanted to see, two things. A, they wanted to see him throw a bullpen, which he did yesterday. That went well, but mainly Nick Paparesta, the entire draft, they wanted to see his finger. Get really hands-on with it, look at it, not just go with reports and what other people are saying and seeing, but see it themselves. And I think he's good to go. I mean, I don't see Connor Prelip going 7 innings, any start the rest of the year. I think he's going to be around a 5-inning cap.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of see where it goes from there. I can't see it going more than 80 pitches, 85 pitches here the rest of the way, unless he's incredibly efficient and the stuff isn't tapering down at all. But they were going to monitor his workload anyway. And I think even more so now as we have just, under 60 games left here to play. I think they're going to be watching him very, very closely. But yeah, I think Connor Prelip in what's going to be, I think, plenty of abbreviated starts, he'll get the ball on Saturday.
Let's break. Much more with Cory. We come back, including a pitching injury update. Not great news on Mick Abel or David Festa. We'll discuss that in the upcoming week ahead as the Twins have 3 separate trips coming to the West Coast. More with Cory Provus. We come back to wrap up Hour 1 of Hot Mike right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. You're seeing my Johan Santana bobblehead. I was there that night. The crowd was wild before to get the bobblehead because that was Hall of Fame night. I only bring this up as we bring back Cory Provus because tomorrow night is Kirby Puckett jersey giveaway. Have they already started camping out, I imagine, at Target Field today for that?
I would imagine that's a big one. That's a popular one. I love that baby blue. I liked the baby blue Twins jerseys when they wore those in the past.
Totally.
Maybe those come back, someday, and maybe even part of a City Connect look here in the future at some point too. But I think that's a big one tomorrow night. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a popular one. It's going to be cool. I like seeing, and I pay attention at the ballpark now. I love seeing Killebrews and Olivas and Blylevens and Carews and seeing Puckett. We see Puckett 34s all the time. And I love that about our game. And whether that's at Target Field, whether that's Twins fans on the road, that's a number that people are going to wear forever, like Mauer 7. And, that's going to be neat tomorrow night.
I was made aware that on Tuesday night is Christmas in July night at the ballpark. You guys don't have to fill in on that. You wear like parkas and anything in the booth, right?
No, I'm not a fan of that. I get why they do that in Anaheim.
Yes.
I get why they do that in warm climates, but I love living here, but I don't want to think about winter now, right? Let's just enjoy this. Yeah. And so I get it. I think it's something we do maybe every year, every other year. But, yeah, the Christmas in July thing, I get it. And, like, in southern climates, go get them. But why? It's beautiful out. Let's enjoy summer, lake life, outside baseball, and we'll worry about winter later.
I just didn't want to see you with like a toque on, when it's 95 degrees out and they make you do that for the opening camera shot.
We are wearing suits though tonight because of our special guest. He wanted us to wear suits.
Okay. Let's get a couple injury updates here, and they're not great. Obviously, Mick Abel was the star, I thought, of the first month of the Twins staff, and he hasn't pitched, Cory, since April, and obviously the news is not good that he needs arm surgery. What do we know on this, and if there is 2027, when he's back in 2027?
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds like Abel is done for the year, and David Festa, whom we never got a chance to see pitching all this season. Those guys won't be part of the plans here this year. But for Abel, I think this doesn't change much in terms of 2027. He didn't have Tommy John surgery, so he had a procedure done that should not really, impact 2027, to my knowledge at this point. So it's disappointing because, man, he looked good early, didn't he?
Yes.
I thought, whoa, this looks like, I get it. This looks like a frontline guy, the way that he was throwing in Arctic temperatures and missing bats and throwing hard. He looked great. So hopefully this is just a 1-year setback for him, and then he's right back at it. And the more this came up a lot just in conversations having with Denard and Glenn and Chris, just on our walks back to the hotel. I hope they don't trade Joe Ryan, because you look at what this rotation could be for 2027 with Pablo back. You have Joe, you have Taj, you have Abel. That's a really good four. That's a really good four. And if they keep everybody together and they're healthy, you can compete, if not win this division, especially if the Tigers trade Tarek Skubal and don't get a whole lot back, or even if they hang on to him, whatever it looks like. You can win this division with those top four guys if they're throwing well and they're healthy. And that's something that I think about and have been thinking about a lot here lately with the trade deadline coming up.
I know this is an impossible question to answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What's your gut tell you? Like, is there a record or how close they have to be in terms of the wild card division for the management to say we're staying, like we're going to keep the group we have, or we might go and add somebody?
I mean, I think they did their job on this last road trip. They did not lay an egg. Now, you can't lay an egg now.
Right.
You just this is, I think, what changes that. If you go 2-4, and then you're going on a 3-city road trip to Seattle, then you go on the back end, you go to Milwaukee. I mean, then you're asking a lot there.
Yeah.
So I think job well done to add, not subtract, or even to trade some parts, but not completely blow it up. I think they've checked those boxes already. I think that they're absolutely still in the market to add, but might have to give up something. But I tell you this, 2023, I know for a fact that there were discussions about trading Sonny Gray. I mean, the Twins had a great team.
Yeah.
Sonny was awesome.
Yep.
Had the one bad start of the year in the postseason against Houston, but there were discussions about trading Sonny. That trade deadline season, giving up something good, but getting, I don't know where he was going, what they were getting back, but it wasn't going to completely, devastate the team in terms of talent. They were expecting to get back some significant talent back if they did trade Sonny to keep them in contention. And of course, they ended up winning the division and winning that playoff series against Toronto. So I look at it this way, but yeah, I would think there are certainly going to be conversations about, many good players, guys that we see play every day. But if they do part ways with a few of those guys, it's not, waving the white flag, being like, we're done, we're out. It's okay, we're still planning on contending, but we had some assets to move that won't completely decimate the team, either offensively, defensively, or from a pitching standpoint.
Got a couple emails here to ask. Dom, you asked Cory if he has any responsibilities for the Field of Dreams game. Now, that's a Netflix game, but are you going to go, or are you staying at home then?
I'm going.
Awesome.
I'm bringing my son.
Awesome.
Coop and I are going to go, and
Awesome.
we're going to drive down. And I a month and a half ago, I wasn't going, and I was like, off Thursday, off Friday, and that sounds great. In August of a season, back-to-back off days at home. You only live once, and my kids, they've seen the movie, but my son doesn't remember it, so we'll watch it again.
Awesome.
Before the game. But yeah, I'm going to go and be a fan.
Good for you.
And I'm going to bring my glove. He's going to bring his glove. I don't know if we'll get a chance to play catch in the field, but yeah, I'm going to go and just be a fan.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. That comes up August 13th, a couple weeks from now. The other email, and this is to ask to expound on your thoughts on 2027 and bringing up the minor leaguers or not, knowing there may be a work stoppage. And this was I thought of this as well because, there are some out there saying, all right, well, if they're going to sell to bring up a Walker Jenkins, to bring up a Kalen Culpepper, but I know you brought this up on our show a couple weeks ago, that there are some pitfalls on that if there's no baseball next year.
Remember that the minor leagues now, they have a union. All right. This was something that came into play a couple of years ago. And so with that, they have their own CBA. And their CBA does not run congruent with the big league current CBA that we're talking about and seeing and reading about. The minor league CBA runs through the end of the 2027 season. So regardless what happens with labor, if there's a lockout, work stoppage, whatever, that will have no impact on the minor leagues. The minor league season, spring training camp will open for them, and they are playing no matter what next year. Now, Walker Jenkins, Kalen Culpepper, two of the top 3 Twins prospects right now. They are not on the 40-man roster. Both guys are at St. Paul, but they're not on the 40-man roster.
Right.
If the Twins bring up either guy, they first have to be added to the 40-man roster. At that point, once you're on the 40-man roster, you have major league protection. So being that if Jenkins is added to the 40-man roster and there is a work stoppage, there is a lockout, he can't go play in the minors. He will be on his own program, just like Brooks Lee and Byron Buxton and all these guys. Whatever they're going to be doing, it will not be with the Minnesota Twins because there will be no big league action happening if there is a work stoppage still lingering at that point. I think that is a big deal.
Yeah.
But you also have to focus on the present. That if they trade Trevor Larnach, there is an everyday spot for Walker Jenkins to play. That to me is a path that they say, okay, to the heck with it. To my point earlier, that you might trade some pieces, but you still want to be in it. They're only going to bring up Jenkins if there's everyday playing time. And if we get to that point and they're still around, I'd love to see him.
Yeah.
I don't make that call, but I'm sure that is something that Jeremy Zoll and the front office and management is thinking about in terms of development, that if indeed we do have kind of a cold, quiet winter with nothing happening, then Walker Jenkins is kind of on his own program and doing nothing affiliated with the Minnesota Twins, unlike many of his minor league peers.
Going to be fascinating to see. Hopefully we're not in that scenario, but it looks ever pressing as we go forward. Great stuff as always, bud. Have a great call tonight, and we'll chat next week, okay?
Thanks, Tom.
There he is. Cory Provus joins us each and every Friday at 9:30. The Twins play the Athletics this weekend, 7 o'clock tonight, 6 o'clock tomorrow, then a 1 o'clock game on Sunday, and then an off day Monday for the Royals come to town. And then, as Cory mentioned, that 3-city road trip looming after that. We'll break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. You'll meet the newest member of the Dragon football class of 2027. He wears the same colors at a Central Cast. Easton Holland is coming up when we come back.